Hello everyone, today we're going to learn how to make these pretty flower coasters. This is made with a number of double crochets and chain stitch. For this I am using crochet hook 2.5 millimeters and some crochet yarn. So let's get started. We begin with a slip knot and chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we need to make a slip stitch in the first chain that we started with. After that you need to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and you need to work a double crochet into the ring that we just made. So a double crochet, and you need to work 11 double crochets into the ring. Counting the first one, the first chain, you need to have 12. So I worked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11. So you have a total of 12 double crochets, counting the first chain. We are counting the first chain as a double crochet here. Now after this you need to slip stitch in your first chain that we made, right on top of it, and then you chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now you need to work a double crochet into the same stitch that we started. Now we work 2 double crochets into the next stitch. It's 1 and 2. 2 double crochets into the next stitch. It's 1 and 2. 2 double crochets into the next one. So you need to work 2 double crochets in each stitch till the end of your row. So each stitch you need to have 2 double crochets in each. I have completed my row. You need to have 24 double crochets here, counting the first chain 3 that we made. Now you need to slip stitch into the chain 3, and you can cut your yarn. Now we'll go ahead and join the next color with a slip knot. You can join it in any one of the stitches that we have. Okay, now you need to chain 3. So that's the first one, 2 and 3, and now you need to chain 2, 1, 2, and you need to work 1 double crochet in the same stitch that we made. The same stitch that we started, our chain 3, all right, and then you chain 1. Now you work 1 double crochet into the next stitch. You need to skip 1 stitch here, right here, and in the next stitch you work a double crochet. Now you chain 2, 1, 2, and you work another double crochet in the same stitch. This is what we have. You chain 1 again, you skip 1 stitch, and into the next one you repeat the pattern, that is 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 double crochet in the same stitch. Again, chain 1, you skip 1 stitch, into the next one you work 1 double crochet, chain 2, and 1 double crochet in the same stitch. So this is the pattern that you need to follow throughout the row. You need to keep skipping a stitch in between. I have completed my row and the last V here. After that you need to chain 1 and slip stitch in the first chain 3 that we made. Now you need to slip stitch into the chain space right in between the 2 double crochets. Now you chain 3 and you work 1 double crochet. Now you chain 2 and in the same space you need to work 2 double crochets. That's 1 and 2. So here we are working 4 double crochets in the same space with chain 2 in between. This is our next row. So 2 double crochets, chain 2 and 2 double crochets. After that you chain 1, you skip this chain space here and you work in the next chain 2 space that is between the 2 double crochets. Right into that you need to work 2 double crochets. It's 1 and 2, chain 2 and 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. Again chain 1, skip this chain 1 space, you need to work into the next chain 2 that is in between the double crochets. You work 2 double crochets, 2, chain 2 and 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, again chain 1, and in the next chain 2 space you need to repeat the same pattern throughout the row. I have completed the last V of our double crochets. Then we chain 1 and in the first chain 3 that we made, right on top we make a slip stitch. Okay, now you need to slip stitch into the chain space that's right here. That's the first chain 2 that we made, right into that, and after that chain 3. Now we need to work 1 double crochet into the same space, chain 2 and 2 double crochets into the same space. So this row is the same pattern of the earlier row that we made. Like this. So 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets in the same space. Then you chain 1 and directly into the next chain 2 space right here. In between this, we need to work again the same pattern. That's 2 double crochets, chain 2 and 2 double crochets. So this is the same pattern of the earlier row. Throughout the row, we need to follow the same pattern. I have completed my row and I've worked a slip stitch here to join the row. Now we need to work a slip stitch into the first chain 2 space and then chain 3. Now in the same chain 2 space we need to work 8 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So we have a total of 9 counting the first chain 3 that we worked. So the first chain 3 and followed by 8 double crochets. Now you chain 1 and in the next chain 2 space we need to work 9 double crochets. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, chain 1 and again in the next chain 2 space 9 double crochets. So you need to follow this pattern throughout the row, 9 double crochets in each chain 2 spaces with chain 1 in between. I've completed my row and you need to join it with a slip stitch to the first chain 3 that we made. Now we need to go ahead and join our color. You can join it with a slip knot in any of the shells that we made, but you need to start with the first double crochet of your shell. So I'll start right here. And then you need to work 1 single crochet in each stitch. So each stitch you work 1 single crochet. Till the end of the shell. Your entire shell, and then you work into the chain 1 that we had, and now you need to chain 2, 1, 2. Okay, now you need to work in this chain of the earlier row, so you need to go ahead and make a slip knot into a slip stitch into that chain. So what you do is, after you work your chain 2, you put your needle through this. That's your earlier row, the chain spaces of your earlier row. We're working into the very next one. You put your needle into that space and you work a slip stitch there. And then you need to chain 2 again. 1 and 2, and work into the next space. So what we're doing is, after we finish your shell, you need to work chain 2, slip stitch into this, and then chain 2, slip stitch into this, again chain 2, slip stitch into this. So you're going to come down right up till here by chain 2 and a slip stitch. So I have done 1 right here, and I have chain 2. Now I'm going into the next one and I'm working a slip stitch. Now chain 2. Now I'm going into the next one, the first chain 1 row that we did, right under that, and you slip stitch. Now chain 2 again. Now you need to go into your row, right into this stitch in between your double crochets, but you need to come from behind the stitch like this, under the stitch. You don't go in from here, you go in from the back of the stitch, and you make a slip stitch there. Now you chain 2, turn it around and work your way back up. So the same rows. So this is your first chain 1 space right here. Again you need to work a slip stitch into that. Now chain 2 into the next one right here, a slip stitch, chain 2, the next one right here, a slip stitch, chain 2, and then you work your slip stitch into your chain 1 space. Like this. So we've gone away right down and then back again up. So it is chain 2, slip stitch, chain 2, slip stitch, chain 2, slip stitch. Then you turn your work, again chain 2, slip stitch, chain 2, slip stitch, chain 2, slip stitch, and then you slip stitch in your chain 1 space. Now after that you need to work 1 single crochet in each stitch of your shell. The entire shell, 1 single crochet. And then your chain 1 space, and then chain 2. Again right here we need to work 1 slip stitch, chain 2, a slip stitch into the next row, chain 2, slip stitch into the next row, chain 2, slip stitch into the first row here, right in between your two double crochets, chain 2, you turn it, again slip stitch into your chain 1 space, that's right here, again chain 2 and slip stitch into your chain 1 space, chain 2, slip stitch into the next chain 1 space, chain 2, and then you slip stitch into your chain 1 space, that's right into your top row. So this is what you have here, and then you need to make one single crochet in each stitch of your row, of your shell that you have. So that's one single crochet, and then you continue this pattern throughout the row. So we need to go down the coaster, you need to go down and then come up again with chain 2 and slip stitches in between. I have completed my row and I have made my last chain 2. After this you need to slip stitch in your chain 1 space here. You work one slip stitch there, and after you've done that you need to work a second slip stitch in the first single crochet that we started the row. Right into that another slip stitch. Okay, and then you can chain 1 and you can go ahead and cut your yarn. I've already cut my yarn, so that's about it. You have your coaster. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my channel.